Are you getting a lot of, or has it come up yet that you're getting clients for like live holographic performances or anything like that? Have you done any of the mapping for that?
No, but you can look one of them up that's really cool. You can look up a virtual concert with Madison Beer. She's
Madison,
a
okay.
like a pop star, like kind of like a Disney pop star kind of thing. And what they did is they put together a virtual concert for Madison Beer at Sony Hall, where they went in and scanned the interior of Sony Hall, and then we did the scans of Madison, and then the Sony Hyperreal team put together a literal virtual concert. Everything you watch when you go to this making of Madison Beer virtual concert, you're going to see her performing at Sony Hall, but it's not her. It's her digital double.
Wow.
So,
That's
and
something
it's really
that's something I could throw on my
correct.
Oculus and watch. Okay.
And dude, like the future of that is going to be bananas, bro, because
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, man. That's why I had to grab one. One of my friends showed me an Oculus, and I
dude,
was like, "This is just
and,
too cool."
and the future of virtual concerts is very interesting,
Mm.
and I'm not really into it personally. Like it's not my thing, but you can't
The
stop the
kids,
train.
you can't stop, and the kid going back to
Yeah,
this new
dude.
generation. I mean, you're not gonna.
And
This is
bro,
what they love, man.
and dude, I'm going to take it a step further, just in like the weirdness of it, which is the part I really can't relate to. So let's
Mm.
start here. Let's say I don't care who it is. Let's say it's fucking. Let's say it's Madison Beer, okay, who's a big star. So this girl, or yeah, so Madison Beer is doing a virtual concert or XYZ artist, and everybody can put on their Oculus and they can watch it. Okay, well, eventually they're going to sell tickets for that shit. It's not going to
Right.
just be like, hey, come to this. So then it's going to be, well, where do you want your ticket to allow access to? Do you want to be side stage in your Oculus where you're like watching her and like, or do you want to be on the stage because no one else will be able to see you on the stage? You can just literally like be right up in her face. What kind of access do you want? And then it starts to become, and this is the part that where it gets a little scary. Um, so let's say Kim Kardashian is side stage at the Madison Beer virtual concert, and you're front row at the Madison Beer virtual concert, and you can look and you can see on the side of the stage that Kim Kardashian is there. Okay. Well, she's wearing virtual Fendi sunglasses, and she's holding a virtual Gucci bag, and she's wearing whatever labels she's wearing for clothing. Those are all eventually going to be things that people are going to covet and they're going to want to buy.
Right.
So now, just like they do when they play Call of Duty and they buy the skin or whatever they buy
Yeah,
for their
100%.
dude, 20 years from now, people are going to be living in their Oculuses and they're going to be spending all their money on their bling that's not even real.
Right.
Like, because
But it is real to them. I mean, there's a devil's advocate to that too. You're not going to be able to change that. Like that.
100%. And, and,
That
and
is
we
their
express
reality and
ourselves.
their perspective.
And it's how we express ourselves. Whether, some people express themselves with a Raiders hat,
Hmm.
which probably only costs you $40, which is cool. Some people feel like they need to wear some expensive brand to show their status and that they can afford it.
Right.
But all that will enter into the digital world where you'll be paying money for a Raiders hat virtually, or you'll be paying money for silver teeth or for this, like I said, a Fendi bag that's like not even a real Fendi bag, but because you want to show people, you want to flex in the metaverse,
Right.
you're going to have to pay the license for that Fendi bag. Like that shit is where my mind disconnects and goes,
Well, but
no,
do you have that
but
in
it's
the real
coming.
world? But do you disconnect yourself from that in the real world? Real world? Because I just want to point out that the reason why I don't have too much of a problem with it, because it'll eventually correct itself. There are people who will seek out that flex, and there'll be other people who don't. They will still coexist in the virtual world at some point, much like we do in the real world. There are people out there, as you described, that want the Gucci bag, they want all this shit, and more power to them. But there's other people who don't give
100%.
that don't give a flying fuck about that.
100%.
So where I guess my question or my pushback on that is like, isn't it interesting though that we see it in the virtual world and it's like, well, what the fuck is that? But we're neglecting that that's exactly how it is in the real world right now.
100%. And that's my point. And that's why I'm actually, maybe I came off not the way I intended. I wasn't knocking it. I'm
Oh, okay.
more,
Yeah, no, yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Where I'm going with it, it's mind blowing that we're going to be conditioned that if you want to represent yourself and, for a lack of better words, flex in the metaverse or express yourself in the metaverse, in the virtual world, you're going to be spending money that you make in the real world, or I guess you make your money in the virtual world.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of jobs over there too, man.
Yeah, but you're gonna be expressing yourself through digital objects that people can see your avatar sporting, or it's crazy. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, no, totally. And forgive me if I wasn't understanding your point there earlier, but yeah, I agree. It's hard for me to wrap my head around for guys like us who it's a generational thing, I think. And it's going to be hard for us to wrap our minds around. And I just try, and to my
and you have a 5-year-old, right?
I have a 5-year-old, yes.
Imagine when he's 25.
That's all I can think about. And I'm like, that's
and dude, if he has a kid at 25, 30, and his kid is 5, like that 100%. Shit that it's just now, like we haven't even scratched the surface. Right. Like it's gonna be banana land.
And you could look at graphs even from 10 years ago that show the exponential growth in technology and stuff that has jumped all these things. And I understand that, but it is also true that our parents looked at us in a lot of fashions
100%.
like that. So it's like, it's not like it's new. Like a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is like, oh my God, can you believe it? And it's like, yes,
totally,
because it's happened before, just in a it's in a new way. Yes. But this is something that is not lost on me. And that's why I try to understand it to the best of my ability. I will never understand it like my son or like someone of that generation. They will always understand it more than I can ever comprehend it. But I do see. I have an Oculus. I enjoy it. Like I have games. I have other things to do, and I think it's cool. Could I see myself falling into that pit? Probably not. But I mean, like I could see how easy it could be the other way, and I could also see how it would be perceived as not a pit. It could be, there is always going. It's not like, look, when things come out new, they don't necessarily eradicate the old. You know what I mean? Like we have TVs. We're talking about technology of virtual right now, and people are still buying hard copies of books and reading books, or just getting them on their Kindle. People are still doing that. It didn't eradicate them. It just there's new stuff as well. So I feel that's kind of more. A lot of people get scared or worried, or I don't really know because I don't watch or listen to the whole conversations. I'll be honest, but I see like some of those hits that are like, oh, you got to watch out for these virtual people in this virtual world. I'm like, I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, like at first it's going to seem really fucking weird, and it's going to be a transition. It's going to be hard for people to grasp, and just like everything else. But eventually, all the kinks are going to get worked out. Like everyone gets so upset about the kinks. I'm like, what you're describing is kinks that happen in every new progression in technology. Like this is
10 years from now, shit's gonna be so different. Like for me, I think where I get excited in the not in the way that is like positive, but where I get excited about it and I go like, no, and I act animated is more based on looking at it from the business standpoint, because my company, all we focus on is digital humans. Like that's all. And we're never going to focus on anything else because I want to be the best at one thing. I want to be the best at what we do. But when I think about the business and I think about how our assets are going to be used, and then I look at like that Madison Beer virtual concert that we were part of, and then my creative marketing brain starts to go. That's where I start going, holy shit, this is never ending. Like this is going to become like all of the things that human beings do to express themselves in this world are going to go
100%, and more
yes,
probably,
dude. And I will bet you that and I never even thought about it till just this minute talking to you. Like I'm looking at your tattoos and I'm going, can you get a virtual tattoo from Paul Booth in the metaverse someday? Absolutely. Of course you will.
You'll be able to buy the art, and you'll be able to swap it out.
Will buy the art.
And by the way, that's not necessarily a bad thing. How often have you been like, man, I wish I could swap this tattoo out every once in a while? Not forever, but like I ran out of space. I want to put something else there.
I get it. So it's just so the part that's mind blowing for me is how much of people's revenue I think they're going to at some point. Certain people, not all, but a lot of people's money is going to go into the skinning and the presentation of their virtual life as much so as maybe their real life. And again, it all just depends on how much it becomes accepted. If having your virtual representation of yourself is what you're allowed to walk into a business meeting on Zoom as, then I guess it's worth it to
I think
invest.
eventually it probably will be, unless something else
Who
comes.
knows?
But here's the thing.
I mean, we are a very accepting society nowadays.
Right.
Who's to tell me that I don't identify as a fucking avatar 10 years from now? Like, who the fuck knows?
Well, we don't know that. But what we also don't know is what's coming next. Like
Totally.
we're talking about something that like is so foreign to us right now. In 10, 15 years, we'll be looking at it and going, "Oh, there's this new thing now." Whatever the fuck that is, there's another step. There's constant growth in technology. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, right? I mean, obviously with Echo Studios, you guys are right in the thick of it.
Dude.
So
it's fucking bananas, and I'm so grateful to be part of something that like is so outside of music, and also I say this respectfully, it's a fucking growth industry.